Hey, welcome back to Her Shift. She was stuck, she shifted, the end. Here we're all about shifting and healing and just having a goddamn better life, and who would not want that? Today's episode, we are still focusing on 'tis the season to be stressed, which was a lot to do with last week's episode. And last week's episode, the actual sound quality was utterly shit, so I'm going to apologise for that. It was an oversight. I tried to be clever. I tried to move offices into the gym because my Wi-Fi was down. I tried to do an online presentation at VizFest, and I tried to knock out a podcast recording sat in a cafe in a busy gym. It did not work. So moving on, because I wouldn't have listened to it. It sounded like it was recorded in the bath. Okay, so moving on, we are going to be addressing this time of year. And if you're anything like me, where you roll up your sleeves and you brace yourself, because you know what is coming. Instead of, well, at some point in my life, certainly when I was younger, that it was a time of year I started to get excited, I really looked forward to. It was steeped with tradition and good energy, excitement, butterflies. And now I just feel like an unpaid version of Father Christmas, who takes on the entire mental load, runs, well, not now actually, but I did. I was running off fumes, I was running off lists. I was trying to do everything for everyone, and at no point did I say, I need help, or what do I actually want at this time of year, or what would make things easier. And that's what Her Shift's all about. It's about going, you know what, where I'm at, I'm not happy about. So you can keep doing what you've always done. It's not going to change. You can run away, and that's definitely not going to change anything. Or you can go, do you know what, this isn't working, and I need to change, I need to shift. But as we can all understand, we often don't know what that shift is or what that change is, and to do with the overwhelm and the burnout. If you are a PMDD sufferer, you're going to want to hear this, because yeah, if you layer this in to pre-Christmas prep and your luteal phase and Hell Week, and how are we still surviving? I do not know. I'm running on a particularly weird energy right now. I shouldn't have done it. I looked online, and if you're anything like me, where there's a person in your life that you're connected to because of previous decisions you made, and they have the emotional intelligence of a saucepan and the sensitivity of a lump of concrete, then like me, you've only got yourself to blame because of those decisions you made when you were younger. However, it hasn't got me riled up, it's just made me go, what the F was I thinking? There we go, that was my vent for today, and that is the energy I'll be bringing to this this episode. We can't go back, but we can move forward. So I'd like to just first of all remind everyone that the current world we live in is so unsupportive to women like us, and particularly mothers. And I saw a reel on social media that really made it very clear why. And it was a case of when I was growing up in the 80s, and even in the early 90s, you were not on call 24/7. You did not owe anyone a reply, an answer. You were not contactable 24/7. The only people that had somewhere, so it would be a pager or some sort of machine that beeped and gave them like a signal that they had to contact the office. And they would often be people in very, very high pressured and very well paid jobs. And in movies, they were often depicted as, well, they're often men. It might be like they might be the top surgeon in their field, or someone in finance, or someone in politics. And if they were on call 24/7, as if a pager was going off, or they were talking to a brick type mobile cell phone, they were like one conversation away from having a heart attack or breakdown or a stroke. And it was like a life choice. It's like, I'll decide to do that job. And they were compensated for it with the excuse me, with the financial reward. Well, was it a reward? But they made that decision to be contactable 24/7, and they were in an extremely high pressured role situation. We now live like that. It's not a job, it is our life. Because even if someone messages you or contacts you, leaves a message in some way, okay, you don't have to answer them, but they have made contact with you. When I was growing up, if you were out of the house, if you were in a car, if you were on some part of transportation, you were completely non-contactable. So you had no idea whether someone wanted to speak to you or not. So it wasn't a case of I'll get back to them. You didn't even know you had to get back to them. And I want us to apply that going forward to think, this is not a supportive way to live for us. This is not helpful, particularly as women, particularly for anyone who has a cycle. Yes, there are ways we can get around it. I suppose we could go off grid. I suppose we could go on a retreat. We could put our mobile phones in drawers, but it's probably not going to happen, is it? Therefore, we have to go, right, how can we understand this, put things in place to help us in this particularly unsupportive, mind-blowing world we live in? And I'm not going to be critical of this time and age because it's incredible. The fact that I'm able to speak on this podcast, the fact that I've got the tech around me, the software, the AI, amazing, incredible. When it comes to my kids, the fact that I am instantly contactable, particularly as a mother, that is so important to me. And although it does, I suppose it does bring up the question as well, if I didn't know, I don't know. It's a tricky one. But yes, in the main, I am really grateful that I can be contactable 24/7, but it obviously does add extra worry to things. So, how things were for me at this time of year would be that I knew that Christmas, the party season, it was happening, okay? And particularly when I was working in the beauty industry, it would be a very heavy work time of year. And then you throw kids and family into the mix. Then you get your own home, and then you're on hosting duties. You're trying to carry on traditions that were set before you. If you obviously get with somebody, marry someone, you're taking in their wants, their traditions, their family. You are so spread thin. And even if you are not a people pleaser, but if you listen to this podcast, it's like you are or you were, you're going to have to be a people pleaser at this time of year. You are going to have to spread yourself so thin, want to please so many people, tick so many boxes, and literally just get through it. Roll up your sleeves, go, and then come Boxing Day, come that Twixmas time of year, between Christmas and New Year, you are absolutely fried. It's like you've walked into a war that you did not sign up for. And I actually used to applaud myself come post-Christmas and go, girl did what? Girl did good. That well done. Yeah. And now I'm thinking, why? Why am I applauding myself? Why am I going, well done for that? And it's at that moment when I realised that something had to change. The first question I asked myself was, how would I want Christmas to be? Now, this was a really hard question because when I asked myself it, I went, well, it doesn't matter what I want because I've got so many other people to consider in my life now. And it was even almost like I wasn't asking my younger self, I wasn't asking my PMDD self, I wasn't asking my depressed self. I was just going, I can't. It's too selfish of me to actually even state what I would like. And also maybe I was scared that in some way I might answer with, well, I just want to leave the country at Christmas and I don't want to celebrate and I just want to, cozy up and not be part of it. But I braced myself and I thought, no, journal this, really think about what I would like things to be like. So it made me realise that I didn't enjoy December because I was so busy. I was so busy sorting gifts for everyone and everything. Even if you have got some financial help or someone else is paying for things, if you're the one that has to do all the research, all the buying, all the shopping, colour coding the wrapping, getting everything wrapped up, getting prepped. There are actually people, that do in December and November time, they actually wrap presents for a job. They actually do people's Christmas shopping for a job. And I can see why, because it probably would have been taking at least a week of work, which you've somehow got to fit around your life and your full-time job. And it's very likely, not always, of course. I know there's some of you out there that have got amazing partners and support networks and family, but for me, I did absolutely everything. I've often talked about that time in my life that I actually had 3 children, not 2. And I don't even know like how I used to get through it, particularly if I would be burnt out before Christmas, let's say. So I would have to do all the shopping, all the prep, all the research, all the wrapping, color code everything, get everything organized, obviously, um, take care of my then husband's family as well. Typically as well, get this, the minute we separated, they then decided they want to do Secret Santas. They didn't want to buy for everybody, but until then, I'd had to buy for everyone in their family, and he had a large family. Then, of course, there's all to do with all the events, all the parties, the kids' activities, all the themes, then wanting to do something every weekend. So your weekends weren't free in December. Then, of course, there was hosting duties. And at that point, you're like, okay, so we've got this week over Christmas and we have to tick all the boxes. We have to see everybody. We have to visit everybody. They might be coming to us. I've got to host. I've got to look goddamn while I'm doing it. Really, really good. I've got to provide food that everyone wants to eat. I've got to be a cordon bleu chef. Do we even have cordon bleu anyway? I've got to be Delia in the kitchen. I definitely wasn't Nigella at that point. I've got to cook food that I necessarily don't like, but it's what's expected of me. If anyone is religious, I've got to cater to their needs as well. They might want to go to church on Christmas Eve. So much to consider. And at no point, like I said, did I ever think, what do I want it to be like? And what would make it a hell of a lot easier for me? So the first thing I decided was that come December, I don't want to be doing any of that. I do not want to be running around. I do not want to be shopping. I don't want to be wrapping. I don't want to be getting my spreadsheets and my notes out. I don't want to be getting my lists. And I also want, yes, of course, I'm going to be doing activities with the kids and I'm going to be seeing family. But I also want to have free weekends. I want to have a spare time and I want to have me time. And I want to have time to go to the gym or have a treatment or something like that in December. Of course, why would I not want to do that? You know, the whole treat yourself, it's Christmas. Well, that wasn't happening, was it? So I was thinking, well, how can I do that? What would give me that freedom in December? So what I've done previously, and it will still work if you do it now, is I thought, you know what, I'm going to start planning, as in dumping down everything that I want for December to be in October. Now that I would just, the way I get the thoughts out of my head is I just dump them down in my notes on my phone. Sometimes I write them on paper, but I would just get them all down. And by that, it would be a case of things that I might need to cover, presents I might need to buy, certain activities the kids would want to go to, things that I would want to do at home, like say, you know, gingerbread making, crafting, making our own Christmas decoration, having friends over at certain times, just making sure they were all on this list. Then, come November, that would be the time for me, which was a quieter time. It's like the lull, isn't it, November? Certainly after bonfire night. Would be to go, right, I am going to take on this plan. I'm going to do this shopping. I'm going to get everything wrapped. And I actually have, I do actually have a spreadsheet. And if anyone wants to see that, I'm happy to share that with you. But you don't need a spreadsheet. You can just put things down in your notes. And this is what I'd recommend. So obviously getting down everyone you need to buy for. But most importantly, people you want to buy for. Because when we're giving, I think it's really important to our energy that we give with love or certainly with clear energy or none at all. This has proved tricky for me, especially when it comes to some people in my past that are still expected to receive perhaps something from the kids. It's difficult. However, that is the sort of energy you need to get into. If you are literally running around ticking boxes going, that'll do, or really resent, you know, spending money on this person, but you know, it's not a good energy. I promise you, it's not a good headspace to be. So who you want to, you know, who you want to spend money on, who you want to buy for, what really matters to you. Obviously set budgets, have a look at your finances, see what's important. I then do, in November, I do all my shopping online. And the reason I'm talking about it now is because we are actually in November and there is still time. Because a lot of the really, you know, the websites that I use do sometimes have two to 3 weeks for delivery. So again, there's going to be no last minute Christmas shopping on these places. So I order everything online. And when I do that, I sit in bed and I'll have something trashy on TV and I'll have a snack and a drink next to me. Oh, it sounds like an email just got sent. Anyway, and I will enjoy it. Like, I'll peruse, I'll go out at my own leisure. I'm under no rush, it's November. We've got plenty of time. I'll enjoy it. And over a period of a week or 2 weeks, I will probably buy several things most days until everything is ticked off. And here's a really important thing. Make a note of what you bought. I know you're like, oh, I'll be fine. You won't remember. Trust me. You need to do that, especially if you're ordering online, because you need to tick it off when it arrives, because sometimes it might not arrive, things like that, when it comes to refunds, or perhaps it's damaged, gets lost, etc, etc. Okay, so make a note. Then, when things arrive, obviously you need to go through it like you've got a stock inventory, see what you've got, see what's arrived. Once everything's arrived, obviously if there's the odd thing missing, you can still go ahead with this. Have, I wouldn't say a wrapping station, but plan a time when you're going to do all your wrapping. Now, it's unlikely that you'll be able to get it. I'd be able to get it all done in an evening. I bet some of you would. I'd probably do it over 2 or 3 evenings. Obviously do it when certainly little people aren't around. And I don't do it like on the floor, hurting my knees, hurting my back. Again, I do it in bed, have all my wrapping. Yes, it's colour-coded, different people, so I know. And loads of sellotape. Again, big tip. You know, when you're in Clinton's or you're in the card shop or you're in B&M and you go, do you need some sellotape? You know, that till you go, just get the sellotape. I can only imagine the dread of perhaps, you know, feeling a gift on Christmas Eve, that didn't get wrapped up, or someone needing sellotape and going, oh, I've got no sellotape. Overstock on sellotape. It's not going to go out of date, is it? So overstock on your tape. Get loads of wrapping. And then again, put something nice on TV. Put some music on. Have a drink. Get on the rosé if you want to. And again, go through your notes. Okay? And then what I do is I have my little piles and I bag it all up and I put labels on it so I know. And then I store everything under the ottoman in my bed. That's a good storage place for me. But to have all in one place, all bagged up and all labelled. Now you're thinking, God, that sounds so organised. I promise you, I am not atypical. Far from it. I am not one of those people. I'm a creative, very creative. I love clean, what's the word? Minimalist. I love clean. I love organisation. But I don't think in organisation, therefore I have to put things in place to keep me organised. And I know a lot of people out there as well, like I know part of my community, got different neurodiversities, ADHD, different tabs open. I do have that procrastination myself where I do go into a level of freeze. So therefore I find that just by having a plan, it really, really does help me. To get me motivated to do it, well, this is what I do. I suppose I think about the fear of and the dread of being panicked and stressed in December. That kind of makes me do it. But then I am a reverse mechanic when it comes to motivation in that way. But what might be nice is to think I'll get the reward of having a calm and easy December if I can get all this done in November. Another thing I really like to do is to, like with the food shop, it's very expensive. And if you get it all just before Christmas, you're going to have like a mammoth bill. I remember going shopping with my parent in the 80s and she would actually take me on Christmas Eve and I was the elder child. And she would have 3 shopping trolleys. She would have 2. I would have 1, but we'd sort of be linked, connected together. And she would go very early on Christmas Eve and I would follow her around. And she would fill every single one of these trolleys. Because back then, the shops weren't open on Boxing Day. And to be honest, I don't remember my family really leaving the house much around Christmas and after Christmas in the following days. It's like you were hankered up. So she had another freezer and a fridge in the garage. And I do remember even as a kid, like these 3 trolleys would be full. And then at the checkout, the actual price, I remember it going into the hundreds and this was the 80s. And I was just like, and I don't really have a concept of, you know, money and what was a lot, but I remember that feeling, wow. And that was just for food. So I firstly decided what would I like to eat around Christmas. Also, obviously, I'm going to take into consideration what other people want to eat. It is important. But however, it's like, is Christmas dinner with a turkey, is that my favourite meal? Far from it. Far from it. Also, another thing is like, if I've cooked it, even if I have people help me, I'm not really going to enjoy it as much. There's no better feeling than being looked after, being cooked for, or perhaps making a meal together. So I was thinking, do I want to make a full turkey dinner myself that I don't really enjoy, and it's going to take me hours and keep me away from everybody? And no, you are not going to be judged, I promise you. Even if you are hosting 20 people, I promise you, the very fact that you are hosting and you are cooking, no one is going to criticise you and no one is going to remember you for it. And if they do, they're another type of C word. Honestly, it's not important. This made me think about, people's weddings, and it's people put so much time and thought into the menu and the hors d'oeuvres and the buffet. I can't remember going to a wedding and remembering the food, not for it being exceptional or not for it being bad, because that wasn't the reason why I was there. So just to me, the very thought that you are looking after people, you are hosting, you are cooking, that's enough. So of course, but just really put your own needs into the pot with that. What would you like to eat? What do you enjoy and what is easy? And you know what? If you want to go for freezer food over this period, I have my food shop always delivered. I actually love it. It feels so looked after. I have it on automation online. It comes every week. I can edit it and change it, up to 24 hours before. And I have it, I do have a delivery on around the 22nd, the 23rd of December. But here's the thing, because things are different now, actually on Christmas Eve, if there are any bits that I need, I don't go to the big shop. I haven't been to a big shop in years. I just go to the local. With ours, it's like we've got like a mini Asda or a mini co-op, and it's never busy. And you know what? While the choice is a bit limited, they've got everything you need. So I just top up on that. But again, I think it's the pressure and the expectation that we put on ourselves to be this amazing host and to be this amazing cook, even if we're not. It's not something we particularly enjoy doing. So don't do it. So another thing I do, which sounds very atypical, but I promise you it isn't, because I'm not atypical, is I like to plan and book activities in November for December. And by that, of course, I mean, like, some of them are ticket-based activities, like, so you want to go and see Father Christmas, maybe go to a day out somewhere, or like a light display or something like that. Of course, that needs to be booked in advance, and things like that sell out. So yes, you do have to have the thought process to go, I want to go and do that, so I'm going to get that booked in. But this has been a game changer for me. You know what I do? I even book in time where I want a free weekend or a free afternoon or a free Saturday throughout December. And I will actually put it on my Google Calendar as in free, as in not going anywhere, not doing anything, not going out with people, not peopling. I also put in, so if I want to do some baking with the kids, if I want to do some crafting, my son absolutely adores crafting all year anyway. So Christmas is just like for him. I actually schedule that in now, because that means that is on the calendar. It's not like, oh, what shall we do today? We know what we're doing today, and I know that for, say, those 2 or 3 hours that afternoon, I'm going to be clear and I'm going to be present and I'm going to enjoy it. Planning in those little things, even like a video afternoon, or you want to stay in your pajamas and drink hot chocolate and watch Hallmark Channel, put it on your Google Calendar. I know it sounds a bit over the top, but trust me, it really, really frees up that bandwidth in your head, which we so need back, don't we, in December. And it does almost like it's like someone, like my past self, has written something for my future self. And come December, I go, thank you, past Anna. That's so helpful. So yeah, all activities, even like video afternoons, hot chocolate stations, crafting, everything like that. And by that, I don't mean it has to be on the dot at 1 p.m, but loosely put it into your Google Calendar. If you don't have a Google Calendar, get a Google Calendar. You don't have to get rid of your paper one, but just trust me, gotta go this way. It will help in the long run. So when it comes to Christmas traditions, I find that is something that something that's meant to provide joy actually started to take a lot of joy away from me, because I felt so bound to them. I felt so, I have to adhere to this Christmas tradition. And then another one might come along, and another one, and another one. So first off, I would say, what Christmas traditions do you enjoy doing? If you don't enjoy doing them, then have a think, where did they originally come from? When did they start? What was the purpose of them? For example, one that I really do enjoy doing, and I will always keep doing, is I like driving around the big housing estates in the area to look at the Christmas lights. I put the kids in the car, to be honest, whether they want to or not. I get drive-through hot chocolate or coffee for myself, and some gingerbread men, and we drive around the housing estates with all the lights, and we ooh and we ah, and we go, wow, I wonder what their lecky bill looks like. It's just one of those simple things. My kids don't quite get my fascination with it, but I think it comes from my childhood that back then it was not, it was only maybe really posh housing estates that did it. It wasn't easy to get Christmas outside decorations, and yeah, it wasn't the norm thing. So it was very exciting. It was like seeing Blackpool illuminations in December. So I still like to do that now. Another thing I really like to do on Christmas Eve, which is meant to be a very chill day, used to be absolutely crazy. But because I now plan these things and I make December easy for myself, it's now a chill day. And it's really important that on that day I do take time for myself. And I also like to go to the beach, whatever the weather. I like to watch the waves coming over the sand, and I like to think about my dad. And I miss him, and you think about memories from the past, and I think about my childhood, and I think about how grateful I am to have those memories, and it makes me very reflective. It doesn't make me sad. It just feels like that type of energy is when I want to remember him. So that's really important to me. And it just occurred to me that in the past, I wouldn't have had time to do that because I was so busy up to my neck, being Father Christmas's PA. Also remember that most Christmas traditions aren't actually that traditional, and a lot of them have come from a very commercial. So, for example, we all know that Father Christmas, Santa wears red because of Coca-Cola. Before then, I think he was wearing green, and that was only in the early 1900s. Elf on the Shelf, is that probably only in the last 15 years, at a guess? He can get in the bin. Advent calendars. Now, Advent calendars have been around for a long time, but even in my childhood, they were literally just a picture behind a door, and wasn't that exciting? Now it's like, the beauty brands all do one, and Harrods do one for £500, and it's got to be a really tasty treat or something really expensive behind the door every single day. So many of these traditions have been built on comparison, which has come from social media. So again, if we didn't know what other people were up to, we wouldn't set our baseline against that. We wouldn't compare ourselves. But when we see so much stuff on social media, for example, Elf on the Shelf, particularly when people, who are these people who record, take pictures, post every single day, going, oh, look at what that naughty elf has done to my kitchen. You know that advert, I think was it John Lewis, and it wouldn't mean John Lewis. Is it Lidl, Audi, I don't know. It had amazing Hannah Waddington in it, and she put the elf in the wood chipper. And did she put him in the wood chipper, or did she get a baseball bat and whack him over the garden? I think he got pulled because it was upsetting a few kids. Big fan. I just feel like that is such like a commercial thing and extra pressure to put on parents, particularly the mental burden loader that would be me. And again, it's comparison is the thief of joy. Look at everyone else doing these amazing Christmas activities every weekend. Look at this person who's like hosting everything, looks amazing while they're doing it. Look at their immaculately turned out children, etc., etc. Just hearing a few bangs and crashes from upstairs, talking about my little elves. Anyway, so really do explore where a lot of these Christmas traditions come from, and please remember that a lot of them, there is like this ingrained comparison, from social media, and the fact that they might have probably started off commercially. If the people, if your family started them, ask, oh, why do we do this? When did we do it? How did it start? Do you remember? Then I'd say, what Christmas tradition would you like to start or do? Or what's something you've always wanted to do that perhaps you didn't do as a child or did growing up? So one that I started, and to be honest, it has given me a little bit of extra workload, but I do enjoy it, was I always wanted on Christmas Eve new pyjamas, slippers, to watch a movie, cuddle up with some hot chocolate, something like that. But I wouldn't get the pyjamas or the new slippers until Christmas Day. So it was kind of like, oh, I would have loved them the night before because Christmas Eve is like probably my favourite time. So what I decided to do was to give my kids a Christmas box. And it obviously it's dependent on their age and what they like. And it is just like a box, and a cardboard box, and I just wrap it in wrapping paper, and I leave it outside, and I press the doorbell. And so when my daughter was young, I would just put, so DVDs were around, so I'd put a Christmas DVD movie in, I'd put a new mug, I'd put some pot of hot chocolate in there, I would put some new pajamas, maybe some slippers, maybe a blankie, something like that. And it would be her Christmas Eve box, and it would be from the elves. And she used to then get very excited about Christmas Eve, and I always wonder, how do you do it? Now in our house, the elf would put the box outside the door, and then the elf would run around the back. But we'd always manage to do it. And of course, I still do it for her, even though she's 17. And her Christmas box still contains pajamas and slippers, but maybe a face mask, something like that. Of course, we don't do DVDs anymore, but just something like treat-wise, relaxing-wise, just for Christmas Eve. It's inexpensive. I get the pajamas from B&M or something like that. And yeah, it's just really like a little exciting, cozy tradition that we like to do. I don't know where I got the idea from. I probably had, maybe a friend had told me that's what they do. But yeah, you don't need an expensive, wood gilded, Christmas Eve box. I just use a cardboard box from a supermarket and put wrapping on it. There we go. And that is a tradition in our household, and it's one that I don't resent and I really do enjoy doing. And the last thing I would like to add is a big advice thing. And I know it's very hard for us to ask this. If you're anything like me, you will have found yourself burnt out, taking on the mental load, the majority of the mental load, and like you said, just getting through it and then crashing come Boxing Day. What if you asked for help? Now, I know asking for help is hard enough, never mind asking for what the help you need. It took me a very long time to do this, very long time, because sometimes I find that asking people for help is just not in my nature. I don't feel aligned to do it. But also then when they go, okay, yeah, of course, what do you need me to do? And I go, oh, I don't really know. What am I prepared to give up and for them to do perhaps differently? But one thing that has made a huge difference is just support around the house. So that might be, keeping the house clean, keeping the house tidy, putting a wash on, helping in the kitchen. When it comes, so I certainly like with my kids, obviously they're different ages and different levels of responsibility, but things like that are always so helpful. Just me coming home, not just in December, but any time of year, and a wash has been put on, just makes me go, my shoulders just go down a little bit. If someone starts dinner, I want to cry. I feel that it's such a supportive thing. So really think about, what does support and help look like for you? And is there anyone around you who you would feel not comfortable but okay asking and would accept help from? If someone asked you for help, I'm pretty sure that you would be more than happy to do it. So therefore, you've got to look at it in terms of other people too. I'm sure they'd be willing to do things for us. Now, that is a hard one for me because I'm not a case of practice what I preach, but I am getting more used to it, and I am prepared to ask those close to me to support me in different ways. I have also looked at December, and there will certainly be one weekend or one evening time during that December period where I will be having a massage. That is a case of, do you know what? Money, time, everything well spent. The whole treat yourself, it's Christmas. I find just something like that is like making me feel valid, making me feel seen, makes me feel like I'm worth it. It does great grounding for me. It reduces my stress, my cortisol, takes me off the ceiling. I come back a better person. It's taken me a very long time to see that, because I'm thinking, how indulgent, how expensive, how dare I do that? But now I'm all about, again, looking after my future self. And by doing that, I've got to invest in her. And I'm her, and this is my shift. So I'm going to say, ask yourself, how do you want Christmas to be? Really think about that question. Imagine it as if it's hard. No one else matters in that moment, just while you answer that question. Yes, I'm sure you've got loads of responsibilities. You've got work, you've got family, you've got boxes to tick. take that away, hypothetically, in your head. What would you like the Christmas period to look like? And don't base this on the fact that but I'm stressed, or I might be on Hell Week, or, I'm going through a particularly hard time right now, or I'm perimenopausal. No. Again, regardless of those things, because those things do not define us, what would you like it to be? Like genie or magic wand or whatever says to you, what would you like it to be? That will give you a good indication of the vibe and the energy that you want to create at this time of year. I'd also recommend listening to other podcasts that really hone in, on lifestyle, and what's the word, like making, Christmas, scheduling, that sort of thing. I mean, take it with a pinch of salt, particularly if you're not atypical, but they can give you some really clever hacks that you can implement into, your everyday, not just at Christmas, actually. Big one there. If you hear what you think is a really good tip, it sounds like such a good idea, and I'm going to implement that. If you try it and it doesn't feel right, if it causes you more stress to try and implement something into your way of thinking or working. So for me, for example, there was a planner on the Notion app, and I've since realised that I don't like Notion. I don't like the way it works. It doesn't fit with my way of thinking. But I pushed with this for months to try and get my head around it, to try and make me used to it, to try and get, where I wanted to be. Don't do it. Literally, you will know very early on if something is going to work for you or not. And if it does not feel right, do not force it. Just go, nah, I'm going to try something else, because there will be something that will work for you and make you feel supported and give you time and give you bandwidth back. And for me, that's not Notion. Just saying. I spent a fortune on templates as well. Anyway, so I hope that helps. I hope that has given some thought. And I hope that if you're listening to this in November, then you'll think, you know what? Yeah, I can make a start on this. I can get this done now. I can at least, get pen to paper or get some things in my notes and just think about what would make things easier for me. And also to make yourself a real consideration in this, because for years, I did not. I didn't consider myself one bit. That sounds so martyr-like, don't worry about me. But I didn't think about myself one bit. And then I actually remember one Christmas just sat out the back, and I was drinking wine out of a bottle. And I remember I was getting a wet bum because I just sat on the wet step. And to be honest, I don't smoke and I never have, but if someone had offered me a B&H at that point, I would have lit up and just gone, I've had enough, I'm done, go for it. So thanks to the joys of editing, I've been able to take a 20-minute phone call and now get back to the episode. But we are at the end. All that we've got coming up, apart from Christmas, which we are now going to approach calmly. Yes, we are. And we're going to ask for help, and we're going to talk and ask for help, and we're going to look for hacks and ease, and we're going to share those with others, and we're going to support each other and everything. We have got coming up the third PMDD Hub meetup, which is going to be in Newcastle. Everyone's asking, why is it in Newcastle? Is it because it's where you're from? No, because I'm not a Geordie. I'm actually I'm more Yorkshire, I suppose. But anyway, Newcastle's about an hour from me, and it's going to be on the 17th of November at 7 p.m. at the Earthlings Cafe. It's not a virtual event at the minute, but any sort of interest, any likes and shares of the event online massively helps us grow the movement, means we can have future PMDD Hub meetups, and just brings, more awareness to the whole project. So I would really appreciate it. Again, if you could like and share this podcast with someone who you think would benefit from it, I would be really, really grateful. It's the only way that I can grow her shift, small beginnings. But I would really, really appreciate it. And it really does help me and my business and the algorithm. So until next time, please, please, please keep going. You are doing amazing. Please remember, you are stronger than you think. You are doing so well. As always, sending all my love.